Genetics, does it help or harm? Let me pose a few questions for you. Would you be interested in making the perfect person to your own opinion and choices? What would you think if someone told you that these options were available when you decide to have children? Well, studying the use of genetic enhancement may cause the previous questions to be less of an imagination and more of a reality. The National Human Genome Research Institute website states that genetic enhancement refers to the transfer of genetic material intended to modify non-pathological human traits. But what other opinions can genetics provide us with? How do we study genetics to find this answer? As staff prepared a background paper on genetics to the Presidential Council on Bioethics in 2002 meeting, they asked, and I quote, "Is it correct to describe and discuss screening of human embryos for genetic diseases in framework of medical diagnostic and treatment since no patient is treated or cured? The study in genetic engineering can cure diseases and defects before they even happen." To begin the thought of what is possible with genetic enhancement, I would like to cite the story of the PDX1 expression that, as a virus in the body, unmanipulates the RNA in one's liver by the 2007 article, Generation of Insulin-Produced Cells by Genetic Manipulation by Ohar Kahari. The study conducted on 14 human donors that results in the cell storing and producing mature insulin up to 60% more than a normal cell of the liver in 9 of the 14 donors. What this study means is that if someone with the early stages of diabetes or another insulin-based disease, there is a prospect of cure coming on the horizon. With diabetes as a big problem, as big as of a problem as it is in America due to the obesity rate, shouldn't more research be conducted to potentially have 14 out of all 14 donors with an increased insulin rate? What is stopping us from researching this and potential cures? One very important reason is the cost of research and the process the genes go through, but another main factor is the regulations on human testing by the government. But you may ask, what has the government done to affect human testing and genetics? Well, with the preservation of many human rights due to the Code of Federal Regulations, the CFR, written in 1974, drives up the importance of certain issues in genetic research that are very hard to calculate, summarized by the United States Department of Health and Human Services regulation website. Many points of the 45 CFR, page 46, I apologize, protects pregnant women, human fetuses, poisoners, and children and prisoners, and children to many different tests for genetic research. The main point of the CFR is in reference to genetic research, is the clear and precise hypothesis with a very high percentage of success in the conclusion of the research. The issue with this is that little facts that we as people know about each specific gene and what it produces in a people without experiment that is blocked without clear success. The study of genetics is slowly moving forward with every test that is authorized and conducted, but unless a huge breakthrough arises soon to help change the laws in place, we have been limited to animal and plant testing to help improve our understanding of the genes that make humans and what they do. With the regulations in place by the government, what other options do we have left? The National Human Genome Research Institute website states, and I quote, "Schwarzenegger mice have been bred, laboratory animals whose body have grown to expanding rapidly and after the injection of a gene that causes muscles to grow." The article also goes on to explain many different ways we have used animals for genetic research, such as finding the gene called mellow growth factor, or MGF for short, and transferring genes to the embryonic stage for the use and make of certain traits to appear in certain animals. For the facts of the research in animals or bring up the toughest question of all: should humans play God, quote unquote? In King James Version of Holy Bible, Colossus 1:16 states, "For by him were all things created, and all that in heaven and all that in earth, visible and invisible, whether it be thrones or dominations or principalities or powers, all things were created by him, for him." This passage states that everything man and the human race have discovered had been introduced by God and for God. Everything that we as a race have learned in every area of study is because God made the information available and stuck to the curiosity and the great mind that caused great leaps into transformalities of human society. With this thinking in mind, this means that the barriers that have been prevented with the advances in genetics, which is mainly the government, is because of his will to prevent the discovery of the process of making people. Now to bring up my final point. The issue of genetics is a very time-consuming question that makes a person decide between their beliefs and what science can do to the human race. Should the government protect the rights of one's individuals against the testing that should potentially save lives of millions? Should we look for clues of diseases before they happen to someone, or should we fight the diseases that are currently running rampant in the world today? When you ask the question of would you be interested in making the perfect person to your own personal opinions and choices, has your opinion changed with the information that I have presented to you today? Did my thing crash?